17 Ways Medieval Life Was Wilder Than You Ever Imagined. 1. Bickering women were locked together. A yoke called Shrew's Fiddle was used as punishment. It attached two people together, face to face. They were forced to talk to each other. To be released, they had to resolve the argument. 2. Peasants dreamed of cockaigne. Cockaigne was an imaginary utopia for peasants. There the sky rains cheese. Laziness was treasured above all else. 3. Married couples could legally fight each other. To settle their disputes, they fought a marital duel. The man had to fight from inside a hole. He had one of his arms tied behind his back. The woman was free to move. She was armed with a sack filled with rocks. 4. There was a medieval version of the purge. When a monarch died, ill week began. People believed the laws were suspended. It continued until the proclamation of the successor. 5. Cobalt was named after a German goblin. Medieval miners confused cobalt with silver. When they tried to smelt it, it released toxic gases. They believed the goblin was playing a trick on them. 6. The North Pole was a mystery to cartographers. They believed there was a perfectly circular island. The island consisted of naturally magnetic black rock. It made compasses consistently pointed north. 7. Armies used biological weapon. Soldiers gathered plague-infected cadavers. They were used as catapult ammunition. 8. There was no such thing as childhood. People didn't even know their own age. Newborns were considered evil by nature. 9. People could get married anywhere. They didn't have to organize a big event. The bride and groom just had to consent to the marriage. They could get married, even in a pub, but it was recommended to have witnesses. 10. Rap battles have existed since the 5th century. There were spoken word events called flighting. Poets would trade insults back and forth in poetic verse. 11. Memes were invented in the Middle Ages. Funny pictures accompanied medieval texts. They were called drollery. One of their common motives was violent rabbits. Presumably, these drawings ridiculed knights. 12. Needles were a sign of wealth. Metal needles were more expensive than diamonds. A wealthy woman might own as many as 6 needles. 13. Musicians were seen as rogues and thieves. They were only allowed inside a house whilst playing. After the performance, they had to leave. They slept in the stables or in a barn. 14. Bread made people high. Peasants mostly baked bread of rye. It was seen as a lower quality grain. It could be grown in colder weather and worse soil. Rye was susceptible to fungi, called ergot. It is poisonous to humans, causing hallucinations and death. 15. People drank beer, like Gatorade. Medieval beer was weak. People would drink it to quickly get some sustenance. Then they could return to work. 16. People started knife fights in pubs. The reason for the fight was usually verbal abuse. The main rule was to never have a fight in the pub. 17. London had to pay rent. In 1211, the city leased land from the king. The payment was a knife, an axe, 6 horseshoes, and 61 nails.